You are welcome to the first episode of Cancer on the Street podcast. My name is Dr. Omolola Salako, and I'm your host. I'm delighted that you are here with me today, and I'll be sharing how I got into oncology, how it all started. I got interested in cancer because my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she was given 3 months to live at the time she was diagnosed. And this was 20 years ago. In fact, in a few days, she would have been 38 years old if she's alive. But I lost her 20 years ago. And it remains one of the most painful things I have ever gone through because this was 20 years ago. I was much younger and I was not prepared to lose someone I loved so much. So at the time my sister was diagnosed, of course, I didn't think she was going to die. I thought the cancer she had was curable. I thought she would just travel abroad and come back after intensive treatment and she'll be fine. But each day passed, weeks passed, a few months passed, and by the third month, I was in medical school at the time in Nigeria. I had to pack up my school things and I traveled abroad to join my mom, who was caring for her at the time. And the first time I saw her, I broke down. I just couldn't believe how she had changed within 3 months that I last saw her. She had lost a lot of weight, and just that difficulty that comes with seeing a loved one slip away. There was a part of me that realized she would not make it, and there was a part of me that was in denial that she would make it. After she passed, that inspired me to begin to look into cancer and how to contribute to cancer care, especially that I was a medical student. So fast forward a few years later, I graduated, I became a medical doctor, and I was, thinking, what should I do? Should I, specialize in cancer care? Because at the time, there were very few cancer specialists. There were about 30 cancer specialists in Nigeria. And I thought, this would be a good place to specialize and become a clinical and radiation oncologist. But just before I went into that, I set up an NGO called Shebekli Cancer Care. And people always say, what does Shebekli mean? It actually represents my sister's name. Her name was Omosheun Rebecca. SE stands for Sheun, and Beck, is from Rebecca. And the LY is just to make it end nicely. So we set up Shebekli in 2006, and we've gone on to screen thousands of women for breast and cervical cancer for free. We've gone on to support hundreds of cancer patients by funding their treatment, creating monthly support group meetings. And right there in the NGO, I was able to interact with cancer patients from a social welfare angle. And I realized that just going into clinical medicine, into clinical oncology should be the next right step. And so I, registered for my specialty training at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital in 2009. And then fast forward to 2014, I became one of Nigeria's few clinical and radiation oncologists. In 2023, this year that we're recording, there are only 95 clinical oncologists in the country. And this 95 clinical oncologists are scattered around 20 states. So there are about 16 states in Nigeria that don't have a clinical oncologist seated, even though there are thousands of cancer patients. And so what motivates me today is the fact that, yes, we are working hard to help people, understand cancer, present to the hospital early, but we always have to innovate. We have to recommit until we can help more people prevent the cancers that are preventable, and also, encourage more women to show up in the hospital with early stage disease so that we can actually cure them. What's happening in the hospital now is the fact that 70% of our cancer patients present very late. And that's why we've set up Cancer on the Street podcast. The goal of Cancer on the Street podcast is to help simplify what's happening in the cancer space, teach you how to prevent cancer, help you to find the resources you need in preventing cancer, and just generally helping more people stay healthy and adopting better lifestyle options so that we can reduce the cancer burden, because it is possible for us to reduce people developing cancer if they understand and if they do the right thing, like going for the annual medical checkup and so on and so forth. So I look forward to you being a part of the Cancer on the Street podcast every week. In our next episode, I'll dive deeper into cancer. I'll break it down, make it very simple. What is cancer? What causes cancer? What can you do to reduce your risk of developing cancer? And if you know someone who has cancer, what can you do to help them? Thank you guys for tuning in. And please don't forget to subscribe to Cancer on the Street podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other social media platforms. Also, please share, tweet, post, and if you want to take it a step further, you can change the Wi-Fi name in your office or at home to listen to Cancer on the Street podcast so that you can remember every day that there's this great podcast that you need to listen to that will empower you, that will give you good health, good tips, and help you reduce your cancer risk. So till next week, next episode, see you.